Thank you very much. And as I understand it, we're going to take some questions. But first, let me say, on the very first day I am president, I will sign the executive order to move the American embassy to Jerusalem in recognition of Israeli sovereignty. On that first day, I will initiate an American energy policy to produce enough American energy that no future president will ever again bow to a Saudi king. And on that very first day, I will initiate a strategy in the tradition of Reagan, Thatcher, and Pope John Paul II to undermine and replace the Iranian dictatorship by every possible method short of war in order to achieve a government we could trust and could deal with. At the same time, I would provide all available intelligence to the Israeli government, ensure that they had the equipment necessary, and reassure them that if an Israeli prime minister decides that he has to avoid the threat of a second Holocaust through preemptive measures, that I would require no advance notice to understand why I would support the right of Israel to survive in a dangerous world. I look forward to, as I understand it, you have a panel. I look forward to any questions.
Mr. Speaker, there is not a panel. Please do continue, sir.
All right, let me just say, I can say this pretty briefly, I think. We need a fundamental reassessment of our entire understanding of the threat of radical Islam. We need an administration with the courage to use the words radical Islam. We need a recognition that if a Moroccan man is arrested trying to bomb the U.S. Capitol, an Army major jumps up at Fort Hood yelling Allahu Akbar and kills 13 Americans and wounds 33 with a card in his wallet saying, "Soldier of Allah." If the Muslim Brotherhood seeks Sharia law and a more Islamic Egypt, if the Pakistani government, at least key elements, was protecting and hiding bin Laden for 7 years in a military city 1 mile from their National Defense University, if Karzai stands by mute in Afghanistan while religious fanatics kill young Americans over Korans which had already been defaced by radical Islamic prisoners who were using them for communication, there's something profoundly wrong with our entire approach to the region and our entire strategy for dealing with radical Islam. One reason for energy independence is to say to the Saudis, we will no longer tolerate their funding of madrasas which teach hatred and teach terrorism. Similarly, we need to establish standards for the United Nations refugee camps. We need to establish standards for the Palestinian Authority. We need to be clear that the teaching of hatred, the recruiting of martyrs, the anticipation that children will grow up to be killers are not patterns compatible with a peace process, and we will not tolerate engaging in a process with people who engage in those behaviors. I believe we're at a great crossroads. I believe the current administration is failing intellectually because it will not even allow the FBI to describe accurately the motivations of a Moroccan bomber. It It will not allow the FBI to describe accurately the motivations of an Army major. It can't possibly deal with the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood with any sense of intellectual honesty. And the recent meeting at the State Department of the Organization of Islamic Countries for the purpose of discussing censoring American language about Islam was a horrendous mistake which should never be repeated. I just want you to know I am committed to reforming the State Department. I am committed to reforming the United Nations. I will follow an American foreign policy seeking American strength to ensure that we can stand with our friends around the world. And in a Gingrich administration, we would not keep talking while the Iranians keep building. We would indicate clearly that their failure to stop their program is in fact crossing a red line. The red line is not the morning a bomb goes off. The red line is not the morning our intelligence community tells us they've failed once again. The red line is now, because the Iranians now are deepening their fortifications, deepening their underground laboratories, deepening their commitment to nuclear weapons while we talk. It is an unacceptable risk, and we should not participate in it, but we should move from strength. And finally, we should rebuild and modernize our military, not cripple it and diminish it, and that would be a fundamental difference between an Obama administration and a Gingrich administration. I look forward very much to working with you. As was said earlier, I've had a long record of working for the survival of Israel and the survival of the United States. As President, I will continue that pattern, and I look forward very much to seeing each of you individually during the upcoming campaign. Thank you very, very much.